My name is Linda Dawson. I'm 67, and I live alone in the little Colorado house my husband Paul and I bought 4 decades ago. The walls hold our life in frames Mark as a boy, holidays crowded with cousins, Paul carving turkey with his crooked smile. Since he passed 8 years ago, Christmas became my anchor. I baked my pecan pie, wrapped gifts for the grandkids, and tried not to hover while my son and his wife Hannah ran the show. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. This year, a week before Christmas, I called to ask what time to come over. Hannah answered, cool and polite. We're spending Christmas at my mom's. It'll be easier for everyone. You can stay home and relax. I said I understood. After we hung up, the house hummed with nothing but the wall clock, the garland, the stockings, the twinkling tree. I'd put them up on autopilot. Now they look like props on an empty stage. Mark called the next morning, guilty and rushed. I hope you're not upset. It's just 1 year. I told him I'd be fine. Mothers say that even when it isn't true. That night, with the cat warm on my lap and the fireplace throwing gentle light, I heard Paul in my memory. You always take care of everyone else, Linda. When will you do something for yourself? The thought rooted and grew. If I wasn't invited to their Christmas, maybe I could invite myself to a different one. I pulled down our old Europe suitcase, dusted it off, and remembered the trip we took on savings and luck. Paris, Rome, Vienna, when the world felt wide but reachable. In the morning, I made coffee, opened my laptop, and searched Christmas tours for seniors. Photos of markets and lights spilled across the screen. One tour leapt out, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. It left in 3 days. My heart kicked. It was out of character and exactly right. I booked it without telling anyone, not out of spite, but out of freedom. At the airport, families hugged and children bounced. I felt the pang, then let it pass. On the plane, I sat beside a tall man with silver hair and kind eyes. Headed home or heading out, he asked. Heading somewhere new, I said, and he chuckled. His name was David Monroe, a retired professor traveling solo after losing his wife. I told him about Paul, about Mark and Hannah, and the quiet ache of being politely left behind. He listened without trying to fix it. We landed in Munich as snow began to fall, and our small tour group, mostly retirees with sensible boots and bright scarves, settled into the hotel. That first night, I understood something simple and powerful. Hannah thought I had nowhere else to go, but I did. The world had been waiting. The days unfolded like a gift. We wandered twinkling markets in Munich, strolled past Salzburg's Baroque facades, and sipped mulled wine with strangers who became companions. David kept gravitating toward me with his dry humor and steady presence. We talked about our children, the spouses we'd buried, and the quiet rooms we returned to at night. He didn't pity me, he understood me. In Vienna, at a cozy restaurant with violin music drifting from somewhere unseen, David lifted his glass. To second chances, I clinked mine, and to finding joy where you least expect it. We walked back through soft, swirling snow. For a while, the hurt at home loosened its grip. Early the next morning, I sat on a bench in the hush before cafes opened, the air smelling of roasted chestnuts and coffee. Mark texted, "Just checking in. We're having dinner at Hannah's mom's. The kids miss you." My reflex was to say I was home resting. Instead, I took a photo of the square and wrote, "Merry Christmas from Vienna, having a wonderful time." The typing bubbles appeared, then vanished. I smiled. That night in Salzburg, I bought a wooden angel for next year's tree and met David by a stall where he handed me hot cocoa. We sat on a bench and watched snow lace the rooftops. Later, our group held candles in the square and sang Silent Night. David's hand brushed mine. I felt something wake a quiet peace I'd been missing since Paul. Back at the hotel, I posted a picture of David and me by a glittering tree with the caption, "Sometimes the best company shows up when you stop waiting for an invitation." My phone buzzed like a hive. Friends cheered, old neighbors left hearts. Then Mark, "Mom, where are you? Who's that man?" And Hannah, "You look different. Is he someone special?" I turned the phone face down and watched the city lights. For years, I'd waited for proof that I mattered. Now I understood I didn't need anyone's permission to be happy. Christmas morning dawned with bells and sunlight scattering across fresh snow. Our group exchanged small gifts, market treasures wrapped in tissue. David handed me a snow globe, a tiny house with 2 figures by a Christmas tree. It reminded me of you, he said, someone who carries warmth wherever she goes. Tears pricked gratitude, not grief. That evening, over candlelight and mispronounced menu items, David folded his hands. Can I tell you something? I knew who you were before this trip. He explained that Paul had been close friends with his brother from Navy days. We'd once crossed paths at a gathering I barely remembered. Paul spoke about you often, David said. He said you were the kindest woman he knew. It felt like a circle closing the past, sending a blessing forward. David reached across the table. I think Paul would be happy you're doing something for yourself. You gave your whole life to everyone else. I squeezed his hand and let the truth of it settle. Later, I called Mark. He answered with questions tumbling over each other. I'm in Austria, I said, calm and clear. That man is a friend, and I'm having the best Christmas I've had in years. He fell silent. Why didn't you tell us? Because you told me to stay home, I said gently. So I found warmth somewhere else. Another long silence, then small and earnest. I'm sorry, Mom. We shouldn't have left you out. I know, I said. Sometimes distance teaches us what we keep overlooking. We finished the tour in Switzerland. On the balcony, one bright morning, mountains lifted their white shoulders into the sky. I thought about rejection turning into release, about how choosing myself had changed the story. Back home, my house felt different, lighter, not because it had changed, but because I had. The tree still glowed softly. A stack of cards waited on the table, including one from Mark and Hannah with a photo of the kids in matching pajamas. We missed you. We're sorry. Come over soon. It wasn't grand, but it was real. I tucked the trip's small mementos into the house, the wooden angel, a postcard, the snow globe with its gentle swirl. A few days later, Mark asked if they could visit. I'll make my pecan pie, I said. That Saturday, the rooms filled again, children's footsteps, overlapping stories, cinnamon threading the air. Hannah helped set the table, eyes shiny with nerves. I owe you an apology, she said. I thought I was simplifying the holidays. I was selfish. You've done so much for this family, and we made you feel like you didn't matter. I'm sorry. I touched her hand. We all make mistakes. Family isn't perfection, it's forgiveness. Mark studied me. You seem different. I laughed. I stopped waiting for life to happen to me. By the fire, I showed them photos, markets and cathedrals, snow-creased streets, the picture of David and me laughing under lights. Mark grinned. So, who's the mystery man? A very kind friend, I said, feeling the warmth behind the words. Over the next months, David and I talked often and planned a spring trip. He was proof that the heart can stretch to hold both memory and possibility. The following Christmas, we hosted at my house. Hannah's mother joined, gracious and warm. When glasses lifted for a toast, Mark said, "To Mom for showing us happiness isn't something you wait for. It's something you choose." I looked around at faces I loved and felt peace not because life was perfect, but because love had changed shape and found its way back. Late that night, snow drifted past the window. I thought of the woman who had once accepted being left behind and the one who bought a ticket instead. Sometimes life takes something away so it can make room for something new. Sometimes people need to see you choose yourself before they remember how to choose you too. I turned off the lights. The tree glowed softly in the dark. This year, I didn't just celebrate Christmas. I celebrated my own courage. And if anyone asked what I learned, I'd tell them this. When life tells you to stay home, go find your own adventure. You might be surprised who you meet there, including yourself.